Okay, we are approaching the end of this day. We have 2 talks left. And now, before we close the day, let's return to one of the most important points that was raised earlier in this morning. The enormous, untapped potential sitting in our mature field. From the perspective of running a producing asset, Ine Dolve will close today by highlighting the key messages we heard, why connected data, shared standards, and cross-disciplinary collaboration are essential for safer operations, stronger margins, and also longer asset life. And she will also offer us a few practical tips on where to start. So let's welcome Ine Dolve, Asset Manager on Alvheim.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Okay, I'm impressed that you're still here, but I understand it because it's really, really interesting. And I'm actually glad that Kalle left because he requires 3 times productivity. So that means that I have a really busy schedule tonight and tomorrow. But I think it's worth it. I think it's great, and I think it's a good prioritization that we're here today. I think we're here actually 10 years too late. 10 years ago, I was logistics manager in BP. And then we had a vision of transforming logistics on the NCS. That vision still lives, but it was very difficult actually because there was no ability and willing to share data. And I think that was because the data wasn't shareable at that time and there wasn't trust actually to do so. We didn't trust each other to share the plans across operators, and there was no ability to share data in the ecosystem with all the suppliers. Today there is, and I think also coming here today says that there is trust and there is willing to do so, and the ability, no doubt, what we've seen today. So I jump straight into it. Why is this important to a brownfield asset as Alvheim? Alvheim, for those of you who don't know that FPSO, it's a rebuilt tanker from 1998. It's not a purpose-built FPSO. But it's not lost. It's actually everything is possible, also based on what we've seen here today. So this is the digital twin of Alvheim. Or wait a minute, no, it's not a digital twin. It's not a digital representation of the asset. It's the 3D model. But the 3D model that we have, we can do a lot. We can plan work from shore. According to our strategy, we need to pull work onshore from offshore, so that we're able to do just what we have to do offshore. But my vision is to set this to life. I want to have this streamed with live data, real-time data, so that we can start working with the vision to manage the asset fully digitally and optimize the operations and maintenance and modifications from shore in this digital representation of the asset. So this is just a glimpse of what we have ahead of us. Alvheim's lifetime expires in 28. So we're now working on lifetime extension until 2040. And for an old, rusty, rebuilt tanker, that means a lot of work. It means at least 200 modification projects. That's massive. This is just a glimpse of it. That means a lot of POB have to go offshore to do that. It means a bunch of engineering work has to be done in a really fast pace. And with the current work process, I think that would be really, really difficult. So we have to change to be able to do this massive project on an FPSO with only, now we have 70 beds. We had 63, we just upgraded to 70, but it's not much. So the message is, if we were able to compete on the NCS going forward, we need to radically change. And we cannot do that alone. Aker BP cannot do that. Our spend, our CapEx, is spent on our suppliers. It's not us. 90% of the CapEx goes out of the house, meaning that it's you that's in here today that actually spend the money on our behalf. It's you and with the sub-suppliers that are delivering these projects to us. So we can be as efficient as we want and as good as we want, but if we don't cooperate in the ecosystem, we will never be able to achieve the targets. So I think that is fantastic from what we've seen here today. And I think the challenge that Linn brought forward from Torgeir Stordal, which is not here today, is very relevant. For those of you who remember that statement, he said that the more mature the NCS is, the less benefit we have from competition. So that means that we have to cooperate. We compete on licenses. That's where we compete as operators. But unless of that, I think we have everything to gain from cooperation, because we all use the same suppliers. So 3 times productivity, impossible without doing this together. Just a short glimpse of our operation strategy. I won't spend much time on this because I think you know it. But we have to move more work from offshore to shore. Only the work that has to be done offshore should be done offshore. We have to achieve data-driven optimization of facilities, production, and activity set. So we will have to set specific requirements to everyone that we have to cooperate with. And what I see is that we will select fewer suppliers with deeper relationships. Because it's been said here today that everyone cannot be brought on board. We need to bring on board those who have the same vision as us and who want to share data, to work on standardized data, and to deliver the strategy that we have set. So we need to strengthen the delivery of functions through standardized processes. We have to standardize. Today we are assets from several different companies merged into Aker BP. We are driving standardization because that's the only way of driving efficiency and improve in parallel. And we're strengthening organizational interfaces and strategic supplier relationships. So we're investing heavily, and we talk a lot of all the hardware, the robotics, the drones, the handheld devices. This is the sexy part. This is what everyone wants to work with, because this is tangible. But this is worth nothing if we don't have quality data. I cannot use this on the FPSO if I don't have quality data. But that's not the sexy part. So I have a mantra, and I got it from the engineering manager in Aker BP, and he said, "Make LCE great again." So this is just a glimpse of the strategy. I just brought this just to emphasize the importance of the data, because this is from our operation strategy, and it says that contracts shall facilitate data and information sharing to enable data-driven optimization and performance-based incentive models. And we need standardized formats, so no doubt about it. That's the requirement. So just a bit more on Alfheim. This is the KPIs that I have to deliver. $9 per barrel, more than 97% uptime, and 50% reduction in CO2 emissions from 21 benchmark. And of course, 0 serious incidents. And I have to add 25 million barrels in addition to what's in the business plan. So is that easy? The first ones today is, I don't like to brag, but I think I do it anyway. We have more than 98.5% production efficiency and a production unit cost of 7.2. But in just 2-3 years, that looks completely different. Completely different. Production will be reduced to half of what it is today, meaning also that production per cost per barrel will increase to more than 18. So that's not very competitive. Today I am, but in 2-3 years, not. Meaning that we have to do things totally different if we're able to compete in what we have ahead of us. And also adding barrels, Kalle talked about it today, Rystad, the analysis from Rystad, very precise. We have a great challenge on adding volumes. What we find around Alvheim is much smaller, and it's too costly to be sanctioned. And I desperately need more volumes, especially if I'm going to deliver on the targets and be competitive. So that means that we have to do things differently. We need new technology. We need to work faster through data. And the fact is that Alvheim is not the only aging asset on the NCS. You see that the asset portfolio in NCS is aging, and that is increasing maintenance cost. In addition to that, we have massive modifications ahead of us, doing lifetime extension projects. So that is the challenge. It's not just a challenge that the cost is high, but it actually the ability to perform and to do everything that we need to do, because there is no space for other people. As simple as that. We need to pull operations much more onshore. So this was the use cases that was demonstrated very good today by Charles. I think he explained it much better than I'm able to do, so I'm not going to try to replicate that. But I just want to emphasize that all these use cases, they are contributing to deliver what we need to achieve our targets and our KPIs. So faster engineering, it enables reuse of documents and information. It reduces engineering and, of course, lower cost and increased quality. And it improves life cycle control, meaning that it also supports the digital twin that I talked about initially. And it hits all our key KPIs. So I asked the engineering manager in my team, said, how much time do you actually spend on searching for P&IDs? And she said, actually, I'm not quite sure, but I'm going to check. And she went back and she checked, and she said, I was really surprised. I was actually shocked, because what I see internally through this process, we spent 21 days to update a P&ID. And she said, and that is just internally. If I'm going to send this to a supplier, it will add another 3 weeks. And that's just sending it once. So here we are, 1.5 months, updating a P&ID. That's not sustainable. I cannot live with that. We have thousands of these kinds of work, updates and sending back and forth manual data that takes forever. I will have problems delivering that program going forward if we continue like we do. We cannot afford that. So that's why I need to, or want to, urge for the mantras that have been said here today by several or all of the presenters, that we need to collaborate on real-time data across not just disciplines internally, but also across companies. We need to share data, plans, learnings, historical documents, etc. And we have to do this to optimize both our human resources, but also our assets that we use. Also in logistics, on helicopters and vessels, there is a huge potential, I would have to say. So, and last but not least, what's also been mentioned several times today, the potential of AI. So if we don't have access to the data, we will not be able to use the potential of agentic AI. So that is what I believe will actually transform the way we work. It's a huge game changer. And I really want to take part in that journey. So the last call for action is, okay, you've chosen to come here today, so I think that I'm preaching to the choir. Here in the audience, you are mainly represented by those who cooperate in DISC. But I think it's important that you also kind of are able to talk to this to your suppliers and partners in the ecosystem that you work with every day. So I think it's important for the suppliers to understand the IP rights strategy of their company and the consequences of holding or sticking to a strategy that's probably outdated. I cannot say it is, but it could be. So DISC is non-proprietary, it's an open solution. So we need to collaborate with those who will share data on those formats. And be curious of the customer requirements and the strategy that I just mentioned briefly, and help us deliver on our strategy. And also understand, what do we mean with performance-based contracts? That is, in Aker BP, that is what we have to transfer to. We cannot live in the transactional world because we've seen the inefficiency that drives. We need to let the experts manage their equipment. The OEMs manage their own equipment based on the data that we provide, so that they can optimize and take the right decisions to ensure that we have maximum uptime of the equipment. And we have to start with the legacy documentation and lift that to a digital standard. So the question is, I think, listening to all the presenters today, I'm wondering, why are we here now? Because it's possible. Why aren't we further than this? Because I love the demos showing the possibilities that is actually there, and especially now with AI. So this needs to go, and it should go much faster than it's gone the last 10 years. So, and the last two kind of concrete actions that you can take tomorrow is to become a PCA member, make use of and contribute to the industry's common digital foundation, develop relevant communities, and you can also active use EQ Hub. That is very, very simple, and I think everyone can contribute to that. So with that, I would just urge everyone to go home, reflect on what we have presented here today, and I will do too, because I have some questions that I'm wondering about why we aren't further. So thank you so much to everyone who has shared their knowledge around this, and we'll see where it goes with Alfheim, Kjartan, and you will help me with it.
Yes, I will.
Yes.
I'll try to.